So this is the part where I catch up on all the reviews that I need to do. What's up, y'all? Kendama, and I'm here with the Kendama review on the Quad Kendamas Oni. I won this Oni about a year ago at LVKO 2023, and it's crazy because the next LVKO is about to come up. And I've had a lot of time with this Oni, and now it's about time to review this thing. This won't be including any opinions on the Squad Mod Oni variant because I don't have it, so it'll just be on the hand turn one that I do have. I want to preface this in the video. AJ does minor changes to his shapes, kind of like always, so this might be a little dated, but that's totally okay. An ever-evolving shape is always better, and improving is always good. But I will give you opinions on the one that I have because that's all I can do. Right off the bat, you can get an Oni pretty much whenever you want because AJ either has some already made or he can just make them to order as well. Recently, he just did like a buy one, get one free thing for his Kens, which was insane for a hand turn. Or I also kind of milled in the US. People are going to talk to me about it in the comments, and I honestly just don't care. But made in the US turned Kendama. He's done various drops with other companies and stuff with this shape. I will be doing a lot of comparing to the Kami, so be aware of that when you watch this video. Anyways, let's get into some of the design aspects of this thing. This is a featured taller shape than, let's say, the Kami. It has some really nice burns on it. AJ switches up these burns, but here are the current burns on them. It is really cool. Look at that quad logo. It's so clean. And then check out that Oni logo. That's so great. That's so hot. I will say all the features on this Kendama are very, very sharp when it comes to the stepped cups, which it has, when it comes to the ring, when it comes to the handle stall. Overall, it doesn't like cut your fingers or anything when you're going to grab it, but definitely a sharper overall feeling. Nothing as smooth feeling as if it was rounded or something. That's a personal preference. It's not inherently good or bad. If it was cutting your hand, it would be bad, but it doesn't, so it's fine. Let's get into how this thing plays because that's what you guys came for. So in terms of cupping this thing, all good. Cups are deep, cups aren't shallow, cups are great. Those cups are all solid. Look at that, look at that, look at that. The cups are solid. When it comes to handling, we kind of touched on it just a little bit ago, but it is a taller shape, so you have so much room on your hand. This is my whole hand. I have really small hands, but that's my whole hand gripping the handle on this Ken. That means when you're going for your Ken flips and stuff, it's gonna be very easy to just grab anywhere. You could fumble the bag and still be able to grab it. Whereas like normal size sword Kens, they're a little bit squashed, so there's less room for error to be made. The slip ring area, again, it's pretty angular, so it's not like the best in-hand feeling. It's not bad, but it's not the best compared to other rounded ones. Let's start getting into tricks. Lighthouses on this thing are a breeze. It doesn't have the biggest base cup ever. My all-time favorite right here, the question Kendama answer shape. It's just a tad bit bigger than the base cup on the Oni, which is totally fine. Things get bigger. That's all good, but it is of the lesser, smaller variety compared to shapes now. That doesn't mean you can't lighthouse though. Lighthouses on this thing are super awesome because of the way these cups are just super duper just stacked and thick. They're weighted down super nicely when you're going for them. Due to the nature of the longness of this thing, it is a very, very predictable lighthouse, but it could also get knocked off its center. Now, what I mean by that is that because of the way this thing like flips in the air, it's slower. That means if you flip it wrong just even a little bit, you can kind of get an off-axis lighthouse flip. And that's with any kind of long sword Kendama. It's not just this, especially with just how much reduced weight there is here. If you're gonna go reduced weight here and then a long sword, you should expect kind of that feeling that it's predictable, but not like super stable on its axis when it's flipping. But it lighthouses, that's what matters. I love this thing for Lunars a lot. Again, it's gonna flip slower though. So even though it has good lunar balance, it's gonna flip slower and it's gonna take a little bit more effort for your Lunars, again, because you're trading off that nice space that you're getting with the longness of this Ken. Don't get me wrong, your trips are gonna be doable. It's just gonna take you a little bit more effort, but solid lunar balance, it's gonna snap on. Your room for error on the Lunars are really good too. You can see right here, you shift there, you shift there. That's always good. Error for your lunar balances. If you guys do want to do small cup Lunars, it is a little bit more difficult just because its ratio a little bit less than Kendamas today, where this small cup is a couple of centimeters shorter compared to the big cup, whereas small cups nowadays are pretty close now. Something I really love about this thing is the taps. You see how chunky that handle saw is? All of the surface area ever, even though this thing isn't really weighted super hard in the slip stop area, you're going back and forth on this super hard on taps. Again, that axis thing still applies, but it's not awful for the taps, especially if you're getting the right spot every time. It's gonna stay there, but if you do not get really wrong, it is gonna go off axis, kind of like any other Kendama, but you still do kind of get that lofty flipping feeling though that you get with like your lighthouse flips while you're doing the taps, but that just means you can tap harder, which can be good, can be a preference for someone. That's just something to think about if you're gonna cop an Oni or play an Oni. Every flip is a little bit slower. This time was actually lighter than this Ken, and heavy Tommers are better for taps, and I'm for tapping this, and I never tap. So yeah, it's pretty solid. Now, something people like about this is that it slings, or should sling better than the Kami. I think they sling about the same, honestly, but for people with bigger hands, this will probably be better for them. For me, when I sling this, I kind of have to get a good wraparound, like right here with my index, and that's just because the space between the sword and this cup is just really far apart for normal fingers, or at least my fingers. So you could still rip a 5, like I rip 5s on this thing, and it's really great. But it's not a kendama I'd like PR with. Like its specialty isn't slings, but you can definitely do them on them. To put things in perspective, I can rip a 5 on a Kami. I can also rip a 5 on here. You try both and you see which one fits your fingers better. When it comes to juggle, Ken flips, and any kind of flip, we kind of touched on this. It is very lofty when it comes your way because of, again, the weight distribution. So when you're doing a late Ken, it's gonna feel a little bit slower when it's coming back this way. When you're doing a multiple juggle flip, it's gonna feel a little bit slower. Again, that's a thing with all longer shapes. It's just when there is a shorter space, it is technically, and it'll always take less time to come all the way around. That's just the science of it. It's shorter, so it's gonna take less time to come around. Whether or not this is for you kind of depends on how you do your late Kens and your flips. In terms of the styles, we got the stepped cups, and again, all of the angles ever. The ring is kind of interesting. It's always been kind of interesting on the Oni, just because it's like super duper aggressive, so it's always gonna kind of sit like that. When you're going for rings, you kind of want to tilt like this, because your thumb will be going straight up, and for it to land straight on it, you'll kind of want to angle your Ken like this. So something to think about. I've always liked quads handle stalls. The quads handle stalls are always solid. Just that hard angle just makes it simple. It can rock a little bit, has a little bit of room for error, and feels solid every single time you land a handle stall. The stepped cups are, again, super duper honed. You can't go wrong. It feels good. Sharp edges. The wings are going to be crazy. Another cool thing, if you drop these cups down enough, you'll be able to get that lock in. I don't have mine long enough yet, but that's something that could happen. You could definitely get a hook on there, which is really great just due to the nature of this. So there you go. For your hook lovers, it does the hook. Same goes for Thomas stall tricks. Your stilts are really good, especially with a longer spike and just a longer Ken. It's just gonna feel super duper solid because of how much stability you have from the longer spike. Now, something that is just like a random fact and is kind of like a thing for all long spike kendamas is that when this spike gets really long, this happens when you go for a swivel. So either grab a little bit higher into your swivel, or just don't do swivels, because yeah, depending on the size of your hand, it's gonna get caught like this. Oh, something I also forgot to mention, candlestick grip anything is great. So if you like handle stalls with candlestick grip, or if you like candlestick juggles, definitely the one to go to just because it's a longer spike. You have a lot more room to grab onto if you're into those tricks. Overall verdict of play, it's a good solid all-arounder. It doesn't really blow anything out the park really, but has a unique in-hand feeling. So if you want to go for something different or try something different, or if you have bigger hands, definitely a choice to go with. Would I suggest this kendama for comps? And I would say yes, in general, try it out. And if you like it, you like it. It does all of the things you need it to do. That's all that really matters, right? It is able to be used in comp. Freestyle is kind of if you like the way it flips, go for it. But if you don't like the way it flips, go for other kendamas. Again, it's gonna be all preference. And the speed ladders, it does everything. You're gonna be fine in speed ladders unless there's some ridiculous trick in there that needs to have fast flips, but you should be fine. Now that all the objective stuff is out of the way, what do I personally think about this kendama? Personally, I favor the Kami over this. Not because it's innately better, but just because I like the way the Kami flips better. I'm not good at late Kens, and I'm not good at taps in terms of the control of how I do them. So the way the Kami comes back, I like better. It's just a little bit faster for me. Whereas this, I have to like really put in a little bit more effort because it's flipping backwards slowly. Don't get me wrong though, I will pick this up, and if I'm trying to like do a performance thing or show off to my friends, I'll kind of bring this around just because it's a little bit bigger, so I can kind of like mess around, do a lot more juggle tricks because there's a lot more surface area on the Ken because it's longer. But to comp, I'm bringing a Kami. You give me Oni, give me a Kami. I'm bringing the Kami over the Oni. Now that doesn't make this a bad pickup. Honestly, I think this is a really nice switch up. If you do have a vast collection and things are pretty much playing the same, I like to throw something like this in there because it feels different from all the other stuff that I have that's kind of shorter spike and all of that. Now another section, I kind of want to make this a bigger deal, but would I change anything about this shape? And I would say, honestly, I would like to see like a rounded thing on some of these style points, just to kind of switch it up, not specifically on the stepped cups, but specifically on this right here. These sharp edges when you're grabbing them can sometimes be not as fun as a round edge. But I just think just softening up some of these edges would be like a nice cool thing to do just for in-hand feeling stuff. I would also give a little bit more weight back and maybe kind of mess with this distribution, but this slip stop point right here, maybe like making it longer or making it just a little bit thicker. And then if you do make this thicker, making the base cup hole as big or keeping that ratio kind of the same, I think it'll kind of add a different flavor when it's flipping and help with kind of that stabilization issue I was talking about where it can kind of tilt off axis when it's flipping. Just a thought, I think that'd be a really cool addition to this shape. That's about it for this quad kendama Oni review. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments down below. Obviously, I am one person and sometimes I miss stuff, and sometimes I just have different experiences from other people when it comes to kendama playing. Drop down below your thoughts. I'd really appreciate it. This is a discussion above anything else, and I'm just one opinion on the internet. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe button, hit post notifications so you can be one of the first to watch these videos when they come out, and obviously sharing the video goes a long way for the channel. This is Elijah from KendramaCo, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!